Welcome to another episode of Cheap and Cheerful. I've tweaked the format a little bit for this one, trying something a little new. Instead of doing just one game, I'll take a look at a few that have some sort of thread tying them all together. So this time, we're looking at some point-and-click adventures, specifically Machinarium, Lilly Looking Through, and Deponia. Deponia? I'm not sure. First off, we have Machinarium, an utterly charming and well-polished example of the genre. I have to admit a little bias with this one, as it is one of my all-time favorite games. In a game without voice acting or text, it's imperative that the world and characters are full of life and expression. This is definitely Machinarium's trump suit, with beautiful hand-painted art and fun, likable characters. The developers wield these assets well, delivering a strong story and a variety of puzzles, very much in the vein of classic point-and-clicks. Also of note is the help system, which prevents spamming by making you play a small arcade game before giving you the solution for the scene. Puzzles spanning multiple scenes are not fully revealed, and would require playing the game again on each scene to see the whole solution. This is a nice touch because we all know the temptation that an unlimited help system brings. Overall, this is a very strong entry with a lot of heart and a high level of polish. Your first playthrough should fill several hours, depending on how quickly you go to the hints, falling into a pretty good sweet spot time-wise. There is also a mobile version, on Android at the very least, probably iOS as well. That's well done, but a little trickier to play due to the controls. A little more spamming, clicking around trying to find the interactivity spots. Our second game is Lilly Looking Through, which is a reference to the game's hook, its twist on the genre, if you will. After the first couple of introductory levels, you get the ability to shift your view of the scene between the current time, presumably, and the past. So while the overall structure of the level is identical, changes like plant growth, building degradation allow you to move differently in each version. Also, changes made in the past are reflected in the current time view. It's an interesting mechanic, and it's used well several times. Unfortunately, that's about the best I can say about this game. The art and animation are passable, but the few times they decided to include voice work, it almost sounds like placeholder effects that were never replaced. The story is also obscure and vague, and really is a non-factor in this game. My biggest complaint, though, is that the amount of clicking necessary seemed like a health risk. I know this is a point-and-click, but I had to take several breaks in what isn't a very long game, because of hand and wrist pain. In the end, while I think the mechanic is interesting and would be interested to see it implemented in another game, I can't really recommend this specific title. It lacks a compelling world or interesting story to hold your attention to the end, and it just doesn't have the polish you can get in other games of this nature. This brings us to our final game, Deponia. Of the three games here, this is the one most heavily rooted in the classics of the genre. The gameplay and puzzles, along with the general wackiness, feel familiar, like visiting your childhood home. All around, it's a solid game with a variety of fun characters, an interesting setting, and a plot that engages. One of the biggest problems with adventure games of yore was the often crazy logic required to solve a lot of the puzzles. Fortunately, despite its links to the past, Deponia manages to avoid this for the most part. That's not to say every solution or path forward is clear and obvious, but I didn't spend a significant amount of time clicking on everything, trying to combine all the inventory items. All said, this is the complete package as far as point-and-click adventures go. Story, comedy, and mechanics, they're all there and solid. So, if you're keeping score, that's a hard yes for Machinarium because of its heart and polish, a pass on Lilly Looking Through due to low production quality, and a thumbs up for Deponia, especially for fans of the genre, because it captures the spirit of point-and-click adventures. That's a wrap on this episode. Let me know if there's any merit to the new format. I've got a bunch of new groupings in mind if it seems better than the single episodes. Thanks for watching. Once again, this has been Cheap and Cheerful.